All right. Welcome to episode 3. Good to have the bro on here.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Super excited. I'm just going to do a quick intro. Actually have one of the boys from the O3. Got a brother from Christchurch. So good to have you on, Liam. Thanks for coming.
Cheers, mate. First podcast, mate. I'm excited.
I know.
Something new challenge. Let's get it.
We've been saying this for a few weeks, actually. I'm glad we finally got it done.
With our schedules at the moment is just...
I know, and we're actually doing it at Locals, which is super, super exciting. We'll cover that a little bit more about what Locals actually is, but we'll get into that. Yeah, we'll kit it out. I only just noticed. Got the hat.
I literally... Even
was that planned or what?
Not at all. Even in the weekends, this hat, I don't wear anything but Locals. It's
soon to be budgies as well.
Budgies, shorts, socks, and then we're looking at getting some sports bras, some active wear. But again, I don't want to do that because I don't know really how to do that. So one of the girls is going to sort that out, but
one of the girls is going to sort that.
It is all coming along.
That's awesome, mate. Well, look, let's get into it. We kind of spoke about what we're going to do before. Let's give us a little bit of background about you, bro.
Background about me, I grew up in Sydney actually. Most people think I'm from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Grew up in Sydney till I was 9 years old in Balmain. We made the move to Hanmer Springs. And then, Christchurch after that. But
you lived in Hanmer first?
Hanmer was for, mate, a long time. 9 till 16 or 17 years old.
Holy shit.
Then I moved. I did boarding school at Christchurch Boys High.
Yeah.
And my last 2 years of school, we moved to the city, to Christchurch, and was a day boy. And then, as you know, went to NZAS after that and studied there. So 2 years at NZAS, which I actually feel was a lot better than most TAFE courses. We were really hands-on. We had our own gym. I learned a lot there actually. So did 2 years there, decided, hey, I want to have a crack at this personal training game. I don't know what else I'm going to be doing with my life. So packed up, went to Australia, and it took me a year of labour, actually a year and a half of labouring. I was too scared. I remember I went to 2 different gym interviews. Got to the front door, didn't go in. I'm like, I can't do this. I was pretty shy compared to what I am now. Yeah, it was a Vision personal training out in Rose Bay, I believe.
Yeah.
And there was one other one. I was all ready to go. I remember I was so nervous. I'm like, let's just get this done. Couldn't do it. So I spent another 6 months on a building site working for my old man, not meeting anyone in Sydney. I wasn't playing rugby because I was injured. And then all of a sudden I picked up my balls, went to another job interview at Vision down the road, which is now Edge Fit, and became a personal trainer. That was the stepping stone. And
that's fucked. Yeah. I didn't realise you did that.
Yeah, so it was 2 different jobs I didn't show up to, job interviews.
Did you have to transfer over your NZIS stuff? How did that work?
I did.
With your qualification?
Actually, I forgot about that. I rocked up to Vision, and I didn't realise I needed to do that. And
you're like, I'm already qualified, baby.
I'm qualified. He's like, sweet, we just need to get your qualifications switched over. And it was a bit more of a process than I thought. Remember Mel Burrell?
Yep, yeah.
She actually, now it's all coming back to me, she sent me her, it was this big task I had to do all these assessments.
She was in Melbourne, wasn't she? Wasn't she in Australia or something?
She was in Australia. I don't know what, it could have been Melbourne. Apologies if it wasn't Mel, I should know this. But and then I kind of talked to her. She's like, yeah, I had to do the same thing. And I had all these assessments to do. I'm like, I need this job in
You
about
had to
a week.
redo the assessments?
Like, it was like maybe 5 different essay assessments.
Just like a competency thing. Yeah.
So she just sent me hers, and I just, she's like changed it around a bit. I'm like, yeah, of course, it didn't. Sent the whole same thing, and that got me qualified. So
fucking no shit, because I did always wonder that if you got qualified at NZIS. What did you finish with the NZIS? You were doing prescription, diploma, exercise
prescription and sports management, and then I did the advanced exercise prescription after that.
What does that compare to the uni course?
The uni course here?
Like, if you're going to do strength conditioning, you know how you generally go do like that at uni? Like, what's the difference between prescription and PT and then uni?
That's a good question. I actually don't know. I know uni's more of a sports science kind of route.
Yeah.
Which both of them qualify you as a PT.
Oh, so you do get your PT when you do prescription?
Yeah, you get your PT.
Oh, okay.
You can just do that year course at NZAS, exercise prescription. Isn't that what you did?
Nah, so I did sports studies, remember? Because I didn't finish school.
I remember that, but I thought you went to exercise prescription after that.
Supposed to, but then I went to Perth. So I was at NZIS. For those of you who don't know, NZIS is New Zealand Institute of Sport. That's where me and Liam actually mixed. We're both from Christchurch. Liam's obviously from Sydney originally, but that's where we met. But I was doing sports studies, so I didn't finish high school.
I remember that, yeah.
So I had a year where I did labouring, then I came back and did sports studies at NZIS, and then at the end of the course, my sister was getting married in Perth, and I just broke up with my missus at the time. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go over to Perth for the wedding, and my sisters were like, why don't you stay for the holidays, work, and then come back, go back and finish your studies, because I wanted to do the exercise prescription.
Yeah.
And then I got to Perth and I didn't fucking leave.
So how long were you in Perth for?
A year. So I ended up staying in Perth for a year.
When did you
And
get
I worked
qualified?
full time, and then I had money because I wasn't doing anything. So then I was like, I'm not going to London.
Yes, and then I was on a plane flight with you.
That was way after. That was way after.
You were just coming back from
I was
London.
coming back. So that was
And I'd just
that was
been-
after my 2 years.
End of 2016, I'd just been on an American rugby tour.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks of just drinking every day, and I was a shell of myself. Get on this plane, I'm like, I just want to just evaporate, just sit on this plane. Had the nice leg part. We were in the
Emergency
exit,
row,
and then
yeah.
look over, and you're sitting next to me. I'm like, oh, hey mate, how's it
I
going?
remember walking up the aisle and I was like, you're fucking kidding me. So I guess I'm sitting next to this guy.
And I haven't seen you since NZAS, I believe.
No, yeah, you wouldn't have. No, that
would've
would
been
have
a
been
couple
the first time
years
we caught up in ages.
Yeah.
I knew you were in Sydney, but
And I remember talking to you for a bit, and I was like, yeah, I want to talk, catch up, but I'm also, I'm so hungover. I've done 2 weeks of drinking. Let me sleep on this plane, and yeah.
yeah, that's fine. So there, I did Perth, and then I did London 2 years, and then I got qualified. So when I came to Sydney, I was like, I want to do the sport thing now.
Where did you get qualified here?
I did it through, I can't remember,
Did
Melbourne
your sports
company.
studies help with anything or not? Did that kind of put you on by
Yeah,
stepping
because
stone?
the first parts of like, if anyone who's done a PT course, it's a bit of bullshit to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
It helped me a lot with the theory and like the muscles, because we had to do a lot of that, like muscles, joints, and bones and all that stuff. So that kind of come back to me pretty quick. But I did it online while I worked full time.
All right.
So it was supposed to be like a fucking 5-month course or something over here, and it took me 2 years.
Took you 2 years.
Right, okay, if actually me sitting down and doing the course,
I was about to say.
it only probably took me 3 months of me actually sitting down
I was
and
about
doing
to say, how easy is it here to get qualified? Then you just said 2 years. Oh shit.
No, it's because I just didn't do it. Like,
Yeah.
it was online, there was no, like, I had to finish, you had to get Cert 3, Cert 4. I had to get, I had a year to do both. And I used the whole year to do
year of
both.
each.
Just because I was a lazy cunt. I was working full time, I just didn't
the
study.
impression that you just went to the next step, sports management, exercise prescription.
No. That's what I wanted to do, because
Yeah,
originally
yeah.
I wanted to do strength and conditioning. So that was the whole thing for me. But then, so
Yeah.
when you got over here, how did your career change up from there? So you went to Vision. How long were you at Vision for?
I was at Vision for a year and a half actually.
Fuck, you were there for a while.
I was there for a while. It was my first PT job. Again, I was a lot more nervous and secluded as a person. I wasn't as out there. I think more so that I was in a new country, didn't know anyone.
Yeah, for sure.
I had bad knees, so I couldn't play rugby. I wasn't meeting anyone. I was working for my dad. So went there a year and a half down, and credit to Vision. It was a stepping stone for me. I learned how to kind of talk to people, interact with the clients. Wasn't really for me. You didn't get to set your own programs. I was big on, I want to do my programs. I want to run my own thing here. So that lasted a year and a half. And then I actually, after that, I was just sick with personal training. I was sick of the early mornings. I just wasn't. I was 20, just turned 22 at the time. I was bored. I'm like, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. I don't know what I want to do. I'm a little bit lost now. One of my mates became a manager up in this gym up in here. It was called No Fear Fitness back then. And he said, hey mate, well, I've got a job here as assistant manager. It's a lot more chill. You get to run your own programs, do your own group classes. And I was like, oh, sweet. Came up here for about a year. And that was one of the best years of personal training of my life. It was me and my mate Connor, and he's still one of my best mates to this day. We were just these two young boys managing this gym, and the owner, I'm not going to name who the owner was, but he was just never here. He didn't want to deal with the gym whatsoever. He just never wanted to be here. So we were left to our own devices. We're supposed to be living paycheck to paycheck, and we wouldn't hear from him for a month, and I hadn't been paid in a month, and I'm trying to call him, mate, where's my money? I'm struggling here, and he'd finally give us a block of money after a month, and we just ran the show. I was 23 years old, just learning. The gym was going under because all these ideas that we had, we wanted to implement, he wouldn't put money into it. So people falling off, the equipment was old. And yeah, that was another year of personal training, but it started awesome. By the end, I was like, I'm so over this again. I just don't want to be a personal trainer. I don't know what I'm going to do. And just decided to do a year of traveling to sort myself out. And that's when I went to London, New York, traveled around Europe, America. And yeah, and it wasn't until I got back from that trip, a year of partying, a year of just didn't train once in that whole year. It was fun for the meantime. I remember waking up every morning being like, I hate my life here. I'm in London. It's freezing cold. I'm labouring all day. I'm on a jackhammer.
What were you doing labouring in London?
Labouring in London. I was on a jackhammer and digging all day in winter there, and it was just 9-hour days with one break.
Yeah.
Hated. I was living for the weekends just so I could drink and party with my friends.
Yeah.
And then I finally got some little sales job, working for like a telecommunicating company.
In London?
London, just calling.
Where were you living in London?
East Putney.
Oh, you're in a good spot. East Putney's
It was
alright.
a good spot, man. We had 12 people in a 3 or 4 bedroom house, crammed in, cold all the time, and
Yeah.
I just remember I took myself home about 3 months early from my trip, and I got back to Sydney. This would have been start of end of 2018.
Yeah.
I thought, right, you're going to do something right now, and you're going to be so passionate about it. You're going to do it for the rest of your life. What's it going to be? And I sat down for a week. I had no money. I was in debt with everyone I knew. I just borrowed money. I thought, I'm going to be a PT and just really give it a crack this time and dedicate my life to this. And 3 years later, here we are. So
That's funny. I was going to ask actually if while you were over in London, you knew you wanted to do this. Like, 'cause, you know, like when you're over there, when you're having those days where you're fucking on the work side and shit, do you have those moments where you're like,
mate,
fuck, I wish I was PTing?
I was having the most fun of my life on the weekends, and then Monday to Friday, hating my life, waiting for the weekends. And I knew I wanted to be a PT, but I remembered the early mornings. I remember that I was never that dedicated to it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that actually pulled me in, and it's funny enough, I've become decent mates with a bloke, a guy called Seymour. I remember being in London, and he just popped up as an account you might know on Instagram.
Yeah.
Started following him, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's a beast. An absolute beast. He's training every day. He's running marathons. He's deadlifting like 220 kgs. He does everything. And he was my first inspiration. I thought, if I could ever even get close to what he's doing, I'll be a pretty happy bloke. And so I started following him, came back to Sydney, and he started dating one of my good mates' sisters. So he's kind of got intertwined. And I thought he was this huge celebrity on Instagram.
I actually follow him. Didn't he play for the Force or something?
He played for the Force way back in the day.
Yeah, that's right. He's Kiwi, eh?
Yes, I think he's been in Australia since he was young, but I think he was born.
Yeah, he's got a tumble because I just assume.
Yeah. He's a good man. He's a beast. He was my first inspo, so I remember getting back and thinking, oh, he's a bit of a celebrity. I'm never going to link up with him. And then a few weeks later, he's now dating Jack Grant, my friend's sister, and then he just kind of linked up with him a couple of times. He works at the Beefit down the road.
Oh, yeah, right.
I think he's part owner or something like that. I could be wrong there, but yeah. So
yeah, no shit.
That's one of the things that kind of got me back into the fitness game. And I remember getting back from a year away of not training ever, and I set myself, I got to just train, do something every day, no matter what it is. I got to do something, and that was the hardest thing in the world. I remember going to the gym for the first time after a year away and just thinking, I can't do this. I don't know how people train every day. I will never be able to do this. And then just, I suppose, stuck to it. And I was pathetic. If I used all my workouts back then, I could barely squat 60 kg.
And it hurts too. That first time when you squat back after
a year. And I came back this anorexic little stick figure because I hadn't eaten properly, hadn't been, and I'm naturally very skinny.
Yeah.
I was, there's photos of me coming back from London, and I look disgusting.
First session, I remember even over in London, because I still trained in London, but I was so off and on, because I was just saucing up, bro. Half the time I wasn't good till like Thursdays. Yeah. But I did train about a gym membership while I was in London. I still trained. Yeah. I remember the first time I went to the gym in London, I went and jumped and do some squats, bro. First set, my hamstring just locked up, and I was like, bro, I was sore for like 2 weeks. Those first sessions back, fucking horrible.
Oh, mate.
So in terms of after that, you obviously grew into owning your own business. What happened to the guy who was running it before you? So you were sharing it with your friend before you went to London. Where did your mate, what was his name?
The guy that was managing here with me.
Yeah.
So he, I just caught up with him yesterday. Actually, I put him on my story. He owns a Vision, so he stuck with the Vision route. We both started at Vision, then we came here. Yeah. He went back. He owns a Vision out in Randwick, and they're actually doing really well. Franchises it. Yeah. Nice. I went there yesterday because they have a physio there too, and they have a pretty sick little complex there. So he's running that with a mate, and they're halves in that. And he I think he has some visions of running a couple gyms in the future, but he's kind of like me, stepping stone, first gym to himself.
Yeah, so let's touch on that. That was kind of the next stage in your career.
Yeah.
So locals, how the fuck was this born?
Mate, it is.
How was this born?
A lot of hard work, a lot of luck. I came back from my trip, said, right, I'm going to be a PT, I'm going to dedicate myself to this, I'm going to cut out the partying. So I was all set to go back to Vision, and I really didn't want to, but I didn't have any other job. Going to go back to Vision, and then anyway, I get a call from the guy who now owns this young bloke called Jack. He said, hey mate, here you're back in town from some of the clients. Here's an opportunity here if you want to pay me a small little weekly rent here.
Yeah.
He'd changed it to Rebirth Fitness and Health. $250 a week, and you just run your own client base out of here. So for literally the next 2.5 years, 2 years, I was just building up a client base, made my little social media page, Liam Corbishley PT, which at the start I was so nervous about making.
Yeah.
But I posted my first topless workout and the boys shredded me. I'm like, I can't do this again. And now you obviously see there's no t-shirts on my Instagram ever. So I started that, and I just literally over the next 2 years just built my client base, and I could be out having lunch with the boys and the new client would message me, say, hey, any chance for a PT in the next 20 minutes? Done, boom, in my car, drop everything I'm doing here. I was just my mindset had just changed to being, personal training was a job where I made money and I didn't really like it, to this is my life, I'm going to put everything into it. So everything I did from then on revolved around my work first, my business first. Did that for the next 2 years. We had a couple of little struggles with the owner here. I wanted to leave. We didn't see eye to eye very well. And then he gave me a week's notice. He's like, mate, the gym is yours if you're out. There was no one but me coming, and my clients coming to the gym. He's like, I'm done with this gym. Get me out. Give me an offer. And I'm like, oh shit, I've got a week's notice. I've got a bit of money saved up. And I just thought to myself, it's now or never. I will never have this kind of opportunity again. Yeah. Gave him a small little offer. He took it, and the rest is history, really. It went from, me running my own thing in a gym to taking over the lease, buying all the equipment off him. Yeah. And over the next 2 to 3 months after that, I was struggling. I took on 3 guys when you were keen, and they all probably had about 1 or 2 clients each for the next 3 months. I could not find any business for these boys, let alone myself. Yeah. And I was sitting there being like, I know I'm a huge risk taker, and my mentality is take this risk, do it, but I'm bitten off a little bit much more than I can chew here. So the boys started getting a little bit antsy, being like, Liam, we're getting like $200 a week here. I can't live off this. And I'm like, it'll come, boys, stick with it. Best blokes, none of them work for me anymore. They kind of fizzled out, and we brought in one group class. I always said to myself, it's going to be strictly personal training. I don't want to be a group class franchise. We brought in one class at 5 a.m. We sent a message out the night before, had 20 people book in that night to our 5 a.m. classes, all my mates, and we're like, shit, we're onto something here. Slowly started building. We were down to me and 2 trainers, and then COVID hit. I'm like, sweet, another little roadblock. A lot of gyms at that point decided, we're just going to kind of sit back, take the money from the government. I was like, no, we're going to go down to the park every day. I bought a ute. We packed all the equipment in that. We just unload it every day, and I think our clientele tripled, if not quadrupled, during the lockdown. We were down in the park every day, and it exploded. I took on another 2 trainers, Lily and Amelia, who are still with us now. We had 5 people running. We had group classes. We had PT. We had a Pilates instructor, Kath, join us for a few weeks, and we turned COVID into this big blessing in disguise, because we just worked our asses off during that. We blasted our social media. Everyone down at the park saw us, and that's really where locals kicked off. Only mid to late year last year, it just all happened. So
that's crazy, because how it looks now and like how you see it, you wouldn't know that like those early days this almost wasn't such a thing.
But I was honestly close to either bringing in a business partner or just shutting down and going back to my own PT. The first 3 months, I don't really stress, but it really got to me. I'm like, I can't do this.
For someone like, let's say anyone who was like trying to build anything out in the PT industry and they get to that point, like how did you kind of deal with it? Was it just like a matter of just keep fucking hitting your head against the wall till it worked, or what?
I mean, I'm just a big believer, and I've changed my mindset up over the last couple of years of just jumping head first, take the risk. Just if there's an opportunity that presents itself, I don't care if you're not ready, you just take that. And as much as I stressed there, I also kept telling myself, saying it, don't worry about money for the next 2 to 3 years. And still, I'm not even concerned about how much we're bringing in. We're just building a community. And back then, I was going into so much debt, but I just kept saying to myself, just keep going, keep going. The big one for us was social media. Blast your social media. I just have so much faith that this is going to work, and I just know this is a sign from above that this is meant to be. There's going to be hard times. Get through those hard times, and you'll reap those rewards. And we're exactly a year in now, and it is going amazingly. We're booking out classes. So I think the big one there is just to, no matter what you do, just keep at it. I'm just such a believer in just work harder than the person next to you. Just grind. Don't worry if it's not paying off right now. more often than not it's going to.
That's one thing that I really noticed too is the PT industry, right? A lot of people say it's like oversaturated.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing I've sort of noticed is that it's saturated with a lot of people who don't put in much effort.
That say that, yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's oversaturated, but a lot of the people in the industry aren't putting the hours in, don't have that same passion. If you are in an industry with someone who, you might not be as smart as them, or you might not have as much knowledge as them, but if you work twice as hard as them, you're always in the gym, you're always got that mindset that you're going to make it work, it's more likely to fucking work for you than it is for them.
If you don't wake up living and breathing what you're doing, you're going to be average. Find something else. And every industry is oversaturated. I'm sure accounting is. Anything is. It's just, if you're not waking up willing to do more than the next person, you're not going to be, you might be all right, but you're never going to be a big name in that industry. You're never going to go far in that industry. So the big lesson there is find something that you're willing to put everything on the line for, or change mentality and what you're doing now, put everything on the line for that.
Yeah.
Just,
and it's the passion thing too, right?
Yeah.
So doing what we're doing now, kind of, I'm sure it does for you, it does for me as well. It really excites me being in the situations I'm in now. I'm in the job I'm in, my day to day, having my clients doing what I'm doing. I fucking love it. It's so much fun. I really enjoy it. Whereas I know that some people don't have that with PT, but it's a good check. They get paid all right. Yeah. You know, it's good money.
And I was like that when I started too.
Yeah, for sure. And it's the thing that I'm hopeful for is that my passion in wanting to do this more is the thing that's going to push me up and above the people that are ahead of me right now.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that, and by being more passionate with this job, I'm going to do the work, I'm going to put more hours in, I'm going to love it more, I'm going to beat you eventually.
Yeah, exactly. And I see you, you're constantly posting, you're constantly putting things up like I am myself, and you may not get seen for the next 3 years, and all of a sudden you're going to get seen. I mean, my personal training page has been around for about 3 years now. I only just have over 1,500 followers, and for the first probably year or two, I didn't have over 200 or 300. I was getting nothing. It's starting to take it's still very small scale, but
for sure.
I just know, give it another couple of years, it's going to be even bigger.
I think it was it's that saying, talking about the ice cube. If you put an ice cube in a room at a certain at a cold temperature, and you put it up by 1 degree at a time, it's not going to melt straight away. But there's one temperature it's going to hit, and the ice will start to melt. Yeah. And there's the same thing with your career and all the things you want to do. If you keep putting it up that 1 degree, that 1% over and over and over again, at some point the fucking ice is going to melt.
Yeah.
And then you're fucking all golden.
Exactly.
So and it is hard at the start though, and that's why I was going to ask, because for you when you were starting out, that uncertainty can be real hard. That's why I was kind of asking about
that. Well, I look back at that and I'm just and I'm someone who, even being someone who's so let's go, even me having second thoughts, I'm so happy I stuck with it, because there's definitely times I didn't want it. Yeah. And like anything, I love this, and I wake up in the morning frothing going to the 5 a.m. club, but there are some mornings where I'm like, I'm so tired, this is a little bit of a drag, but that happens. There's always going to be times like that. You push through those hard times, and the good times are always there. Just work hard for the good and the...
Now, for next thing I want to touch on is more about locals, bro. Obviously your Instagram's sick. The amount of shares you guys get, the amount of fun it looks like you guys have in here looks fucking awesome, looks phenomenal. But one thing I want to say is and we've spoken about this, you guys all look fit as fuck in your videos. So for new people coming into this environment for the first time, what's the gym like behind all the Instagram videos? What's the experience like coming in and actually being in locals and doing a class or being with the PT here? What's it like?
So we get that a lot, and I had a few girls come up to me and say, hey, I want to come to your gym, but you guys are the most intimidating bunch I've ever seen. You all look so fit, your tops are off, guys are all jacked, the girls are all jacked, you all look so fit, and we are probably the most welcoming bunch ever, and it surprises the new people that come in that, looks can be deceiving, and we are a pretty fit bunch, but we cater for top end athletes and people who have never ever set foot in a gym in their life. And I think the big thing is just stepping in and going for it. Anything I do in my life, my advice is just get out of your comfort zone, get in and do it. It's every gym knows how to cater for a new person. No matter how the gym looks, the gyms are there, they've been there for a long time, they know how to cater for new people coming in. I
was going to say, I'm just going to bounce off that, because not the shitting on my gym exactly, but big commercial gyms, I don't think they do it as well as you guys do.
Actually, that's probably a point, and I've never really been at a big commercial.
Yeah, commercial gyms, just from where I work, it's a lot different. The way you come in, if you come in here, for instance, it's straight to you. You're the first person I see.
Yeah.
You own this place. You live, breathe this place. You got the hat and the fucking shirt on. Like, this dude's ready to go. Whereas commercial gyms are a lot different. People don't come in to talk to someone. They come in to do their own thing. Some people will go 6 months to a year in a fucking commercial gym, not speak to one person and have no one speak to them.
Yeah.
So I think the difference in community and the welcomeness that you just spoke about, I think is definitely huge. You can feel it. It's
so I'm talking more group class scenario here, which is kind of I mean, you go to a big commercial gym, and I hate them, can't stand them. I know you work at one, but I literally can't stand them. I just think there are some very good people there, but the intimidation factor there, it is hard for a newbie to go to a gym like that.
For sure.
People think it's hard to come to our gym just because of the looks of some of the clients. I would find for a newbie going to a gym like that without a trainer, without a group class to go to, that must be the most daunting thing ever.
Yeah.
I would probably go into one of those things and thinking, shit, I know I'm a pretty experienced trainer, someone who trains myself, but we're just big on and I think where we differ from a lot of the gyms is, I've drilled that into the community, into myself, into our trainers, that everyone who comes in, you welcome them on the spot. I'm here all the time. Whoever's new, introduce them to the new people. It's just, it's funny because I never realised that we were people who looked intimidating and on the Instagram, I just thought, this is what looks like the most friendly gym ever. But to a new person, I've had a couple of people say, you guys, I would never join that gym. You guys are too fit looking and
it's not so much. I don't think it's so much that you guys look intimidating. I think it's still. It looks like a fucking awesome environment. I think it's just like, using my partner as an example. She was just like, I'm so unfit, like I'll die. Like,
that's one thing I was going to touch on. And it's always from the female population. They always say, I'm going to come. I'm not fit enough yet. I'm going to get myself fit first, and then I'll come to locals. I hear that all the time. First of all, if you're not making yourself fit already, you're not going to be making yourself fit most likely. You're not going to do that. You come to the gym to get fitter. And touching on what I said before, we cater for absolutely everybody. Doing the same session, we have freak athletes, we have your normal group and your group who've never touched a weight in their life, and there's options for everyone. But that is the most classic thing I hear. Let me get myself fit first. That is, to me, the worst excuse I could ever hear. Let us help you.
I always talk as well. Like, now that I am a trainer and I've been a trainer for a little bit, you've been training for a lot longer than me, but I think the one that I said to my partner is just like, you don't understand, like, you can tell like how people are going during a workout. Now you get that sort of sense of things. Like, you're going to be so good at running these classes and having people from, like you said, elite athletes to the bottom. You're going to see when someone's struggling. You're going to see, and then we can honestly fly stuff on, like we can change stuff on the fly. We're really good at 100%. Adapting a workout to wherever your fitness level is. It's still going to be challenging, but that's what you want. We want, like you said, we want you to step out of your comfort zone a little bit. But obviously, if you're really, really struggling, there's always ways that we're going to notice, and we're, especially in an area like this where it's not huge, you're in a big fucking class at Fitness First, and you're going to one of those classes with 40 people in it. If you're dying in the back, no one can tell. No one's there to help you. Whereas if we're in a class or you're running class here, I see you walking around, you're interacting with everyone. If someone's dying, you can tell, and then you're able to give them substitutes or give them something else to help them through. Like, we're professionals, bro. Like, it's
exactly. And
part of my job is to look after you.
I'll walk up to someone who's struggling. It might be a first session. Maybe we're doing 4 or 5 rounds on the board. I just go up, whisper in there, hey, just finish your 3rd round there. We'll stop there, have a bit of a break. Well, that's what we cater for. So I think, and again, it's always the girls that come in. They're so nervous. Of girls on the front door. I'm really nervous. Please don't go too hard on me. And touch wood, we have not had a single person at the moment who's come in for their first session who hasn't come back. Our success rate at the moment, luckily, and it's credit to my team, credit to the community we have here, people have just fallen in love with it. Everyone who does their first session here has stayed, and it's so far it's running smoothly.
That's amazing, man. And that's the thing, like, even Sarah Bertucci, she said that, she was like, did he hang around just because we were doing the workout? And I was like, I don't know. And then she was like, if he left, I was going to stop. I was like, what? She was like, what about me? She's like, I don't give a fuck about you. If he left, I was going to stop. She was like, I was fucked.
And I can't remember, I probably did stick around to, she did look pretty good. Pretty funny. But I have one of the boys midday message me, hey mate, any chance I can come to the gym? I'll be at home, ready to have a nap. Drive down the hill, open up, sit here, do a bit of work in the office just to have one of my mates training here. I've just drilled myself to, this is my life. I want to help people. I want people to be thriving. I want people to be training. I should have my bed in that office. I'm here 16 hours a day. I don't leave.
And it's like, who gets that from other gyms? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that community and that, like, willingness to look after your members is like, bro, you can't beat that. That's the best thing about having a small business. You get to run it the way you want to run it.
Exactly. There is no pressure, apart from pressure on myself to do something. The harder I work, the more income I make, the more people I help. There's no one telling me this is the deadline. The deadlines are on me. And knowing that, it's made me work 10 times harder. I've never been more fulfilled or more excited to come to work than when I'm working for myself.
That's fucking awesome, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm the same with that as well. Working for myself has been the best, but it kind of scares me. So I'm like, I could not work for anyone else now. Could you imagine trying to go back to a normal job now? I was talking to my mate
Connor, who I caught up with yesterday. He said that. He's like, imagine going back. Imagine sitting in an office.
Imagine going back to labouring.
No offense to people who do it.
No,
that's
of course.
Amazing.
It's just for what we've been doing.
If I had to sit at an office 9 hours a day and listen to a boss, my God.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. And I credit people who can do that because for me, in a non-arrogant way, I've struck gold with what I'm doing. I've worked hard for the last 3 years. I've made my own luck. I've got really lucky at the same time. And I'm like, the sky's the limit now. There's nothing I can't not do. So.
Yeah. Well, luck's a funny one, bro. Like you have to put yourself in a position to get lucky.
Yeah.
Like when people 100%. Say you got lucky, yeah. Like I got lucky, but I was at the right place at the right time. I was still working.
You got lucky after 2.5 years of working really hard. A bit of luck came your way.
Correct.
You did all that before.
That's what I mean. People see locals now and they're like, oh, well, it's this big thing. Like it looks fantastic. So busy. Like can't even get into a 6 a.m. class. Needed people to cancel.
Little they know, 6 months ago, I was still going. I couldn't even break even. Maybe 6-7 months ago, I was still struggling.
It's
and now
crazy.
It's just lucky that
what's the goal, man? Like, where do you want this to be? What do you want it to be?
The goal, and I do tell a lot of people this. I should keep this a little bit more secret, but I'm a big reach for the stars kind of guy. I like to tell people my goals. It puts more pressure on me to go out and achieve them. But my goal at the moment is, don't ask me why. I want a big gym in New York. Okay. I want a big scale one gym in Sydney. I would love to. I lived in New York in 2018. I just thought that's where I'm supposed to be. I'd love to spend 6 months of the year, maybe even less, in New York and the other 6 months in Sydney and just go back and forth managing these 2 big gyms. That is, for me, I say that right now, I'm just exciting myself. I'm like, that is the dream of the next few years.
Do you know what's funny? Mine, I obviously want to move into online personal training because I want to work remote.
Yeah.
Mine is to do 6 months London, 6 months Sydney.
Yeah, which is like I love that.
Summer,
exactly.
like.
I love Sydney, but I feel like sometimes I'm getting too comfortable, and I just want to put myself somewhere that's going to challenge me again. Man, I love that for you.
Do you have a plan into? I understand like those big goals obviously don't just happen. Like, do you have steps in place? Have you got a rough idea of what that looks like? Do you have a time frame? Or
at the moment, there's only. I mean, I'm huge on goals. Every year, I write out my business goals, personal goals, training goals. Yeah. So I may have mentioned it to you, I'm going to London and New York in about 3 weeks' time. I'm checking out this gym called March On, which I've told you about, the Ollie March On guy.
Oh, yes.
He's now my huge idol. So I'm going there, sent him a message the other day. He was like, yeah, mate, sweet, when you're here, we'll catch up. I want to go try a few sessions there at their gym for 5 days, and they fly to New York. New York's a bit of a leisure trip, but it's also, I'm going to walk around there, check out different gyms, talk to people about leases, what it costs to be over there, talking to a few different gym owners to be like, what does it take to make this? Because what I've done so far, I have no business background. It's worked well with me because I've networked so well in my area and all my friends are here and it's word of mouth. So going to another city, you actually have to have some sort of business sense of how to market it to people you don't know. Locals is friends of friends of friends of friends now, started from my friends. So it was easy. I just had to smash my social media, message 100 people a day in my friends who'd be like, come in. You go to New York, you don't know anyone there. You're networking with people you don't know, so that's a challenge that scares me, that excites me, and makes me really want to make this happen. So the New York trip's more of I'll live it up a little bit over there, but I really want to go and just talk to some gym owners and just kind of...
You still got some mates over there from when you were there 2018?
I have probably about 5 or so mates I'm going to link up with, and I'll be with them for a couple of days, kind of maybe go to a few bars.
Hey, F45 did it, why can't you?
Exactly.
They started in Australia, didn't it?
It is, it's Australia.
That shit. It's got fucking Mark Wahlberg training in that bitch.
A billionaire. You just put it on the stock market, F45. I mean, again, sounds ridiculous, sky's the limit, let's make that happen, but... so I have big dreams. I'm just big on make it happen. Just do whatever it takes to make it happen. Just don't sit there. What the hell's the point of sitting there and dreaming about it? Go out and do it. So if it fails, it fails. You learn from it. If it goes well, shit.
And it's like we've spoken about before. Like looking back to where we both are now, like to where we were, it's like, even then, if you look back on what we've done so far, that's a fucking achievement in itself. Doesn't mean we keep like, we kind of stop where we are. It's good that we both like want to keep growing and doing so much more, but I think we, like that quote that we had that was like, right now you're in the part of your life that you used to get excited about.
You posted, I love that quote. I remember you posted
that's that. One thing that I think I always try and do as well. It's good to have all these goals, but we should also just be proud of like what we've done so far. So to start off a little on Christchurch, ends at IS.
A very low economic place in Christchurch to this. And again, it's still a small scale, but I'm just excited to see what's going to happen with it. Do you have
a time frame?
My time frame, and I'm big on pushing things. My New York goal, I want it to be setting up plans and looking for a spot in the next few years. That's my
awesome,
goal.
Fuck, you're getting me excited. It's not even my gym. Let's go.
I get a little bit too ahead of myself sometimes, and like you just said, I'm always, what's next? What's next? Why is this not bigger right now? And I need to sit back sometimes and just realise, oh shit, I have a gym in Double Bay in Sydney, one of the most expensive places in Sydney, and sometimes I need to sit back, but I'm just always so excited for what's ahead. I'm just, what's next? And I'm already thinking, once New York goes well, what am I going to do after that? And New York's even just a thought, but I'm always just a little bit far ahead, so sometimes I need to bring myself back down.
That's good though. I reckon that those grandiose ideas are like, the bigger the better, I reckon. Bigger the better, the closer you get to it, the more you're going to achieve.
100%.
So like, why have little goals that are just too easy
aim
to
small,
fucking
you shoot
go
small,
for?
you aim high, you're going to, even if you don't shoot that high, you're going up there, you know.
100%, fucking oath. What's in terms of the fitness industry itself, I want to know what you think about this. How long have you been in the industry now?
So this is going to be my 8th year. So 7 years in, with a year of travelling in between.
And then also you're at NZIS too, like you've been in and around fitness for a long time. What's one thing about the fitness industry that you would like to change or see done differently or anything?
For me personally, a lot what I see, and especially all over my social media, is aesthetic seems to be everything. Train like this to get this look, train like this to be like this, this is how this person trained to look like this. For us, and I know it might seem ridiculous because it's just all us with our tops off, but that's just how we train. There's no retakes, there's no filters on our photos, it's just how we train. That's our one clip.
It's hot in here too.
It's so hot here, as you would have experienced in some of these sessions, midday, summer. I'm really trying to bring the aspect of we train for our mental health first. Training should be for mental clarity. I hate the vanity side of it. No offense to bodybuilders, I hate that. I really don't like that style, but each to their own. But as long we've built a big kind of team in here that everything's about your mental health. You come in and train. I see the most rewarding thing for me is I see these girls and these guys who've never really trained before, who just think, oh, Liam, I'll come in for one session. Oh, I'm really sore the next day. I won't come in until next week. Who are now coming 6 days a week and smashing it there. Some of the fittest, strongest people going around in our gym, and they started 6 months ago doing nothing. Now they're training every day. So I think it comes from a mental aspect first, mental clarity, to feel good about yourself. If you're eating well and training like an animal, no matter what the training is, you're going to start looking good. The results are going to come. So that does come. Everyone wants to look good to some respect, but when your main source of training is to look good and it's for vanity, I reckon that's you're chasing the magic dragon. That's never going to happen. So I think the big one for me is changing the look of the industry and training for your mental health first. And I don't know, a lot of places do that, but a lot of places still don't, and that's the one thing I'd change.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. I feel like everyone, you can see it, and even when I do the sessions, I don't always do the classes, but when I do your workouts and stuff, when you leave after putting yourself through that kind of shit, when you have this weird like clarity for the rest of the day, like that clear-headed, no worries, like it's a really... Unless you've trained this kind of style before, it's kind of hard to explain. But coming in, and if someone, especially if you haven't done it before, that's why I think everyone comes back. If you haven't done a class like this before, this kind of training before, you come in and think, oh fuck, I'm not going to be able to do this. You finish it and you leave and you're like, holy shit, I didn't think I could do that. And
that bond you build with the rest of the crew, that you've all just flogged yourself together.
Yeah.
And I come from a really weightlifting background. I'm sure you probably do too, being a rugby boy.
Yeah.
I only switched to a lot of conditioning a couple of years back. And there's that stigma on conditioning. Oh, it doesn't get you to look as quick as your weight training. It takes a tax on your CNS, which it does. That's why we have our strength days in between. But it's just for your mental clarity and how good you feel after. There's nothing beats a good conditioning day. I do my conditioning Mondays, and I'm like, I've just won this week right now. I am so set for the week. This is amazing.
And for a while, you were doing 2 days as well.
Sometimes. Back in the day, I used to do a lot more 2 a day. Now I'm in the office a lot doing work. But yeah, if I can get a second in for the day, definitely will a few times a week. But yeah, for me, conditioning is king.
I know it is. Actually, I'm going to sort of, that kind of segued perfect into one of the questions I wanted to ask you. So, conditioning. If I'm starting out, let's just say I'm a footy boy, I'm mostly just weightlifting for like footy season and stuff. Only conditioning I do is fucking Bronco every pre-season.
Yeah.
How would let's say I've just finished playing footy, how would I start getting into conditioning? What would you recommend for someone? From beginner to footy player, 2 different groups.
And again, just for me, and this is my mindset, it's just do it. I have so many people come in and say, oh, I don't do burpees, oh, I don't do the assault bike, it's not really for me. Shut up. Anything can be for you. Like, what do you mean it's not for you? You're telling yourself it's not for you. Get on that assault bike and go for it. Like,
of my clients need to listen to this. Some of the ones that refuse to run.
I'm very nice to my clients and I'm very fun with them, but when I get excuses like that, shut up, get on the assault. Some trainers go, okay, you don't do burpees, you won't do burpees. You don't do burpees, do fucking 20 burpees for me right now. Like, just put yourself in the mindset where you do it. Go in. Conditioning is 10 times harder than doing weights. Doesn't have to be hard. You can do 20, 30 minutes of conditioning. Get in there, break a sweat, and build from it.
What's a simple conditioning workouts that someone could start with? If someone comes to me and they're like, what should I do? Let's say they're not here and they message you, other than jumping on Liam's online classes. Other than that, what would you suggest to someone?
Running should be a good staple. If you can start building, if you can't run 200 meters, build it to 500, build it to a K. It's always building. I'm big on R machines. We around here froth the assault bike, the rower, the skier, our burpees, our air squats. Anything that you can handle that even for 10 minutes gives you a sweat. Running should be a good base. If you go anywhere in the world and there's no gym, I can train it out and go for a run.
Smart.
Get good at running. Running should be a staple of exercise. There's no simple answer there, but find something that maybe you like doing. It could be boxing, and just do 10 minutes of it. Build on that.
I like what you said. This is a big thing that I try and get home with a lot of people. I either consult with or I do sessions with is progressive overload as well.
Yeah.
Because how you mentioned, like, do 200, do 400, do 600. That's huge, because the one thing I see, especially in commercial gyms, all they do is they sit on a treadmill for 30 minutes at the same speed every second day for a month. And they're like, I haven't lost any weight.
Yeah. If your body is comfortable with something, no adaptations are happening, no changes are happening.
You need to make sure it's hard. Like, you need to make sure
weight every day. Your body knows how to push that weight now.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Push those limits. Could be 0.5% every day.
It's misinformation though. Like, no one knows that shit. Like, if you're not big, if you're a beginner to the gym, they don't understand that. Because a lot of the times too, when they do that cardio, when they lift weights at this similar weight, it still kind of hurts.
Yeah.
Like, it's still strenuous when you're doing it. So they're like, oh, that's good. Like, that's all I needed to do. Like booty bands and shit.
Yeah.
People do booty bands for 10 minutes because they were like, oh, I can feel it. Like, my butt's sore.
Booty bands we use in rugby as a warm up to activate our glutes. So
correct. Like, I use it as warm up for my clients as well before we squat, before we deadlift, like
no
before
girl
we do those big
going
movements.
from a flat ass to the biggest ass in the world from booty bands. I'm sorry. Keep your booty bands.
Yeah.
Put some weight on there as well.
Yeah, correct. And that's a big thing for me. If you were gonna do conditioning, someone asked me the same question, it would just be, it doesn't really matter what you do for me, same as what you were saying, but for me, just making sure you're making it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just gonna come in and do the same sort of conditioning over and over and over again, nothing is going to change for you. You're not going to get any fitter.
And I'm fine with a newbie who may be lifting weights or doing conditioning who really struggles it. For the first few weeks, even for the first 3 to 4 weeks, 2 weeks, stick to the same thing. And then after that 2, 3, 4 weeks, then we add someone. Doesn't have to be straight away if you're a complete novice. There has to be along the line some sort of, and it's pretty harsh for me because I'm just so, let's push ourselves. And I get some people aren't like that.
David Goggins a double bay, eh?
Nowhere near on his level. But it's just, everyone can push themselves to their limitations. Push yourself. Be someone. Don't say, oh, I'm not wired like that. Wire yourself like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't wired like that at one point. I wired myself like that. Make it happen. Do it. Push yourself. Just be a little bit mentally stronger. Yeah. It's a harsh reality, but some people just need that.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. Like, fuck, I think we pretty much covered everything. One thing I do really want to talk about, if you guys do want to get into conditioning though, you have an online service, so you don't even have to, if you're not in Double Bay, you can go through the online service.
So our online True Coach program where I'm contactable 24/7 if you don't know what the programs mean or need some help with them. We are.
And there's videos and everything on there. So you got sets, everything. You got all the
videos are coming.
They have. You can
I think True Coach actually have their own videos.
Yeah, they have their own videos you can add as well.
We're
but eventually they'll have their own videos too.
You may see me on a couple of them.
Yeah, shirt off.
I may have to keep my shirt on for those. It's a little bit more
So
professional.
I had a mate literally message me the other day after I trained in here, text me and he goes, "Do you not own any t-shirts anymore?"
You know how I get that every day, and years ago it got to me. Now I'm waiting for that after every post. I'm bringing on.
Come on, cunt. So insane. So locals actually have an online service. So if you do want to get conditioning workout done, fuck, these guys are the masters. They'll hook you up. Jump on there. You'll have all their. I'll link all their Instagram and I'll link Liam's Instagram as well. So you can just DM them through there. Is that how they go through to sign up?
Most of it's
Do you have a
through
website?
Instagram.
No?
We have a website.
Okay,
we have
perfect.
the Instagram. We have the email
Easy.
service.
Otherwise, if you are in Double Bay, what's your Eddie?
455 New South Head Road, Double Bay.
Yeah,
we
right.
are more than welcome to take anyone on. Again,
100%. Yeah.
advanced, complete beginner. We take on everyone. We turn the average person into some sort of conditioning beast. So
Yeah,
that's what we've been
honestly,
doing so far.
I've done a few. I've done a lot of different classes. Like I've done ones at Fitness First. I've done F45 for a month. By far the best
Cheers, man.
people around as well. Best people, great environment too. It's fucking awesome. Come to a class, even if you have to drive over that fucking bridge if you're from
It's
the North Shore.
worth it.
Come
You
all the way
will
down.
love it.
Get a Saturday morning done. They've also got a run club on Saturday mornings.
we do too,
There's a
actually.
lot of fucking shit going on down here. So
More to
if you
come.
can, get down to Double Bay. See your locals. Thanks so much
So cheers,
for coming on. All
Thanks
done.
for